YouTube because it sucks. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Political Ray, where we've got some stories that happened over the weekend. But firstly, I hope everybody have a fantastic weekend. I hope all the mothers out there had a good Mother's Day. Hopefully my wife did, but we didn't do much. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, weekend was good. Hope everybody had a good one. So we've got Newark, New Jersey, where the mayor was arrested while he and some state representatives were trying to, I would say, forcefully make their way into the ICE facility there. Now, they're making a big deal out of this because apparently this facility was just opened on the 1st of May. And they don't like it because they want criminals and illegal aliens to stay within the country. But we'll get into that. A big China trade deal has been made. Now, details of this haven't been made public just yet, but we do know that there was a trade deal that was arranged with China. Took a couple days. The left is going to lose their minds over this just because of the fact that they were making a big deal out of the fact that I saw Saturday that, the China deal, China walks away from the deal. They walked away from the negotiation table, but we'll get into that. The deal's been made, so it's a good thing. Didn't take long. Honestly, I thought it would take a week or two to actually get done, but it was done just over the weekend. So that's good. That's good for the country. But it's a win for the Trump team, but we'll get into all this. So let me just go ahead and get my view down here, and we'll get into this stuff here. Oh, hold on. That's the wrong thing. Anyway, so we got this is a live show Monday through Friday, every morning at 7:30 Eastern, just ahead of the Rumble lineup. So I appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll go ahead and get into this. Now, from Truth Social, Donald Trump's Truth Social said, a very good meeting today with China in Switzerland. Now, the talks were in Geneva. Many things discussed, much agreed to, a total reset negotiated in a friendly but constructive manner. We want to see, let me get rid of myself here because I can't read all that, but there we go. Constructive manner. We want to see for the good of both China and the U.S. an opening up of China to American business. Great progress made. Now, Trump is saying that this is it's like a complete reset as far as the trade with China. We have a $1 trillion, like $1.3 trillion deficit as far as trade with China. This is a good thing. It needs to happen. I don't know why the Democrats weren't trying to get this done beforehand, but that's anyway. Biden was in office for 4 years. He couldn't get it done. Biden's got it done in just over 100 days now. He's been in office. Now he's got the trade deal done with China. Hopefully this can bring us out of debt as far as the trillions of debt that we owe to China. It's just we need a more productive deal. Hopefully this takes care of it. Now the details of this haven't come out just yet. They said they're going to be releasing it today. So we'll take a look at this clip. And see what they say. Hold on. Where's my volume? I don't know why there's no sound coming from this. Hold on. It's up. Well, I guess we'll just go ahead and skip that. That's weird. I don't know why there's no sound coming from that. Got my volume up. Oh, wait, hold on. I think I know why. There we go. Let's see if that fixed it. I think that's why. So let's see.
To a great deal of the productivity we've seen. We will be giving details tomorrow, but I can tell you that the talks were productive. We had the vice premier, two vice ministers who were integrally involved, Ambassador Jameson and myself, and I spoke to President Trump, as did Ambassador Jameson last night, and he is fully informed of what is going on. So there will be a complete briefing tomorrow morning. I think that led.
All right. So we got a briefing apparently that's going to happen this morning. Again, I will say trade deals are probably a good thing with China. My personal opinion, now the Democrats will say that I'm going to call this right now. Democrats are going to come out. They're going to say Trump buckled to China. I don't think that that's the case. As I said before, if it is a complete reset of the trade with China, he probably worked out a deal that I would probably say that is probably good for America. So we've got that. Let's check out the New York Post and what they have to say about it. And just because, I mean, this New York Post, it's not some right-leaning site, so I wanted to take it from here. U.S. China strike deal after extensive talks in Switzerland as Trump officials tout resolving ongoing trade war. So hopefully this ends the trade war, and people will be happy about being able to buy stuff from Temu in China, I guess. So the U.S. and China have agreed on a deal that to help resolve the trade war raging between the world's two largest economies. Top Trump administration officials announced Sunday. Now, my personal belief is I don't think that China couldn't. I think a lot of their money intake comes from the American consumers. That's because American people like cheap stuff, even if it does break in a week or two. But anyway, details of the deal struck during negotiations in Switzerland over the weekend were not revealed, but officials teased that more information will be shared on Monday. The U.S. has a massive $1.2 trillion trade deficit. Okay, I was a little off on the trade, but the deficit. So the president declared a national emergency, U.S. Trade Representative Jamie Greer said Sunday. We're confident that the deal we struck with our Chinese partners will help us work toward resolving the national emergency. Hopefully so. President Trump has imposed tariffs of up to 145% on goods from China, with China slapping retaliatory tariffs on American exports. Again, I will say I do not think that China has a chance to survive economically without the American consumer. I just don't think it's feasible. I don't see the Chinese people buying the kind of stuff that America's very, very materialistic. I don't see China being that way. I'm sure they've got stuff, but America's very materialistic. That's just the way we are. Anyway, Greer joined Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Chinese Vice Premier I'm going to butcher this name, Lifang, for the talks in Geneva, Switzerland over the weekend to address the triple-digit tariff. I can tell you that the talks were productive, Bessent said. The announcement comes after the Trump administration unveiled a framework for a trade deal with the United Kingdom last week. China is America's third largest trading partner and has long drawn ire from Trump over its practices, including exporting deadly fentanyl, currency manipulation, intellectual property theft, forced technology transfers, and more. Some estimates have pegged annual Chinese IP theft from the U.S. at $225 to $600 billion annually. That's a lot of money. Last year, the U.S. had a $295.4 billion trade deficit with China, a major pet peeve of Trump's. It should be the pet peeve of everybody. But I digress. During his second term, Trump slapped a 20% tariff against China, seeking concessions on the fentanyl crisis. Then on Liberation Day, as he quoted it, he unveiled the so-called reciprocal tariffs on Beijing, prompting swift retaliation. Despite the vast differences, Trump administration officials claim that they made remarkable progress with China in about 2 days. That's pretty good. Say what you want about the guy, but I think 2 days is a very fast turnaround. Just me. Maybe I'm 9. Just my opinion. Despite the vast differences, Trump administration officials claim that they made remarkable. Oh, I read that part. Anyway, it's important to understand how quickly we were able to come to an agreement, which reflects that perhaps the differences were not so large as maybe thought, Greer added. Let's see. There's a lot of groundwork that went into these 2 days. On Saturday, Trump crowed that great progress made in liberations with China. Deliberations. Now, look, again, I will say the left made a huge deal about. I just read up on it, not too much. I just seen it on X when I was scrolling through there. But China apparently walked away from the negotiation table on Saturday. Again, looks like things got done. Maybe they didn't really walk away. Maybe Trump said, "Look, if you don't come back, there's going to be harsher punishments." Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there, but just speculating. The president's team is frantically working to strike deals with a bevy of countries, given Trump's July 8 deadline to reach an agreement or else face the customized higher rates he announced last month. Those Liberation Day tariffs tossed the global markets into chaos when Trump announced them in the White House Rose Garden on April 2nd. Now, I will say that when the market opens today, I don't know what time it actually does, but I would imagine that it's going to skyrocket today. After the news dropped about China coming to an agreement with the United States over trade, and especially it being a clean slate, as it were, that's kind of the term I'm going to use. I would imagine that the market's going to just freaking go up and up and up. But just more speculation from me. But anyway, let's see what else we got here. But just hours after the tariffs took effect on April 10, Trump announced 90-day pause on the plan to allow countries, that was everybody except for China. I covered that. Some of the nations imposed with the highest rates, including Vietnam and Japan. That's because a lot of China's products went through. They would send them to Vietnam, and then from there they would get shipped to the United States. That's kind of their little roundabout way they went about getting around the tariffs that were imposed on them. But let's see. But until the latest breakthrough, China had remained staunchly opposed to negotiations. Now, again, I will say this is a good thing for the country, especially if it's a clean slate, gets us out of debt with China, hopefully. $1.2 trillion is not something that's going to be overcome easily. Hopefully, once we see the details that come out today, this I would imagine it's a good thing. I don't think Trump would sign just something willy-nilly. I think that it's going to have to be something that he thinks will be prosperous for the United States people. So we'll go ahead and move on to now Newark, New Jersey. This was the huge story that broke on Saturday or Friday evening, rather. Now, Bas Baraka. Now, sounds like a Mortal Kombat character, but I digress. But he's the Newark, New Jersey mayor. He was arrested after a crazy scene took place at the ICE facility in Newark. Now, they were there claiming that they had oversight, privileges that they could go in there. Let me just tell you, on the forefront of this is not completely accurate. They do have state representatives do not have oversight as far as these facilities are concerned. Now, they can request to go in and have, take a look around. They can request it from the ICE leadership and Congress, what have you, but state representatives do not have the authority to conduct oversight on this facility. We're just going to put that out here in the front, and I'll just go a little bit deeper into that after we take a look at a couple things that happened during this. This is insane. This is them actively trying to keep criminals, murderers, rapists, what have you, inside of this country. And I've said it 100 times because they keep doing it. I'm going to have to say it 100 times more. These people are not your friends. They don't care about the American constituents that they are supposedly representing. If they did, they wouldn't want the murderers and the rapists and what have you to stay within this country. Sorry, not sorry. That's just the way that they are. Anyway, take a look at this clip. This is what went down in Newark. Now, Bas Baraka, this is when he was actually getting detained / arrested. And the representatives there just lost their minds. Now, namely, one of them, the one that's in the red jacket here. Now, her name is LaMonica McLever. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know for sure, but she actually assaults ICE officials here, and but you take a look. You let me know what you think. You tell me if you think she did or not. I think she did, but you let me know. Now, Barack is the one over there. He's in that dark blue suit, and then Monica, she's one of the state representatives for Newark, for New Jersey. She's in that red jacket. You can see right here, she physically pushes and assaults an ICE official. That's just my opinion. That's what it looks like to me. Again, you let me know. This is them trying to just detain the guy because he has no legal authority, none, as far as trying to have oversight. The mayor of the city has no legal rights to enter this facility. None. He can request from ICE officials to actually go in and look at the facility, what have you, but he can request it. He has no right to just go in there. They told this guy, look, we're telling you you're trespassing. You need to leave. They told him a few times before he refused. I think that he was grandstanding. This is what they do. They grandstand and they try to run off of a non-issue, an issue that, in my opinion, is them trying to keep illegal murderers and rapists and what have you within this country. That's what it seems like to me. Gang members. But anyway, I digress. We'll take a look at this next one here. This is from CBS. Now, again, not a right-wing source. This is just, I wanted to show everybody what they're saying about it, and I'll give you my 2 cents on it. Newark, New Jersey Mayor Bas Baraka arrested at ICE facility charged with trespassing. Yes, that's exactly what it was. Anyway, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey was arrested at a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention center while visiting the facility with members of New Jersey's congressional delegation. Again, I will say they do not have any oversight legality to go into this facility, and I'll get into that. Mayor Bas Baraka was taken into custody Friday at Delaney Hall in Newark, which quietly started housing migrants detained by ICE this month. Now, as I said before, apparently this facility opened on the 1st of May. I didn't hear about it, so I guess it was pretty quiet. But I don't hear about everything either. So, the mayor of Newark, Bas Baraka, committed trespass and ignored multiple warnings from Homeland Security investigations to remove himself from the ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey this afternoon. This is Friday. U.S. Attorney New Jersey Alina Habba wrote on social media, he has willingly chose to disregard the law. This is true. Oh, let's see. Get rid of that. That will not stand in this state. He has been taken into custody. No one is above the law. This is, look, that's what the left likes to say all the time. Nobody's above the law. Well, here we go. Baraka had his initial court appearance Friday evening and was charged with 1 count of trespassing. He was later released from custody. Good. That's fine. Look, I'm fine with that. I'm not saying lock the guy up for 5 years because he was trespassing. It didn't look, he did resist a little bit. Maybe give him a little bit bigger of a fine for resisting, especially since him resisting probably more than likely led to the rest of the little tussle that happened. But as far as him getting out, that's fine. He was arrested. He'll be fined. I'm fine with it. Letting him out. It's not, like I said, I don't see giving a guy a 5-year sentence for trespassing. I just don't see it. So I'm fine with him being arrested and then released. Anyway, a sea of supporters greeted Baraka, a Democrat currently running for governor, moments after his release from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security field office. Of course they did, because this is a perfect chance for them to grandstand. Anyway, what's happening now in this country everyone should be scared of. Baraka said he was not at Delaney Hall to protest, but to support the members of Congress who were there to tour the facility. Again, they do not have the right to just walk up in there. They have to have permission. I think this is just one big grandstanding, what have you, that the Democrats are throwing out on display because that's just what they do. Anyway, For months, the mayor has joined other lawmakers and immigration advocates in urging the 1,000-bed facility located about 15 minutes from Newark Liberty International Airport is dangerous and illegal. They allege the private prison company that signed a contract with ICE did not obtain proper permits and blocked fire, electrical and plumbing inspections. I don't know about that. I don't know. That's something maybe that'll come out later. I don't know. I think that might be just something that they're using for ammo, but we're not asking for anything that's incorrect. We ask them to obey our laws, to obey the policies and rules here in the city and the state of New Jersey, Baraka said. DHS denies allegations the facility did not obtain proper permits and wasn't inspected. In response to Haba's comments, Baraka said, clearly that is not the context of what happened. I was there for over an hour in that space and nobody ever told me to move. I'm going to go ahead and say that that's a lie because numerous accounts came out saying that he was told to leave and that he was going to be arrested for trespassing if he didn't. Maybe he was there for an hour before that took place. I don't know. But I would imagine that they did warn him before they didn't just arrest him. I wouldn't say that that's the case. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I don't think that that was the case. Anyway, it was unbearable, but it was definitely a humiliating experience and uncomfortable for me, he added. Governor Phil Murphy said he was outraged by Baraka's arrest. I'm not. The guy was warned. He said, look, they told him, either leave or you're going to be arrested for trespassing. He chose not to do so. I think one warning is enough, but that's just me. Hey, Mr. Old-Fashioned, I guess. But over the past few months, Mayor Baraka has, as well as advocates, faith leaders, and members of our congressional delegation have protested the opening of a private immigration detention center in the city of Newark. It's not private. The private company may own the facility, but ICE signed a contract, what have you, so I don't view that as a private jail. But I digress. I was proud to sign in a law banning private immigration detention centers in New Jersey, and just last week my administration was leading the fight to defend that law before the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. Baraka said he was treated well while incarcerated, and he feels he was protecting the residents of New Jersey. He's protecting immigrants of New Jersey, illegal immigrants within the state. That's it. He's not protecting his constituents. He doesn't care about his constituents. He cares about the illegal aliens in his state. That's in his city. That's it. I don't believe a word that this guy says. Not one. Anyway. According to DHS, Delaney Hall currently detains murderers, rapists, suspected terrorism, and gang members. Again, like I said, if this guy is actively defending and wanting rapists, murderers, gang members, these people want these people within the United States. Why? You got me. It's a mystery. Other than just grandstanding, I couldn't tell you. It's disgusting. It's wrong. And these people shouldn't be in our country where our kids walk down the street. I don't want them in our communities. Today, a bus of detainees were entering the security gate of Delaney Hall Detention Center. A group of protesters, including 2 members of U.S. Congress, stormed the gate and broke into the detention facility. The members Robert Menendez Jr. and Bonnie Watson Coleman and multiple protesters are holed up in a guard shack, the first security checkpoint, DHS said about Friday's incident. These people should not have been there. Period. If they wanted to look through the facility, they had to go through the proper channels and do it that way. Now let me I'm gonna read this off. This is, if you do just a quick Google search. I put in here, can Congress members just go into an ICE facility? The first thing that pops up right there at the top of the page. While members of Congress generally have a legal right to conduct oversight at Department of Homeland Security facilities, including ICE detention centers, they are not permitted to simply walk in without proper notice or authorization. ICE will accommodate requests for visits for oversight purposes, but they require at least 24 hours advance notice for congressional staff. Failure to meet these requirements can result in denied access, as seen in recent instances where members of Congress attempted to enter without prior notice. They do not have the right. Now, there's a lot of people saying they're just doing their jobs. They have oversight. They can go. No, they cannot just go up into this facility willy-nilly at their own leisure. It's not a thing. They can't just do it. Anyway, now you've got a little bit further into this. He says a state congressperson does not have an inherent legal right to enter an ICE facility. ICE facilities are federally operated by the Department of Homeland Security, and access is tightly controlled due to security, privacy, and operational concerns. What happened? Let me just put this out there, and you can let me know. But what do you think is gonna happen if one of these state representatives, okay, say they go in there, say that ICE said these people just show up out of the blue, and they say we have oversight, we want to come in, and then for some reason or another, ICE says, okay, well come on, we'll take you through. And then what happens if one of these they had detainees that just showed up on a bus? What happens if one of those people, a gang member, gets loose? I mean, it's improbable, but not impossible. So what happens if one of them gets loose and, God forbid, something happens to one of these Congress people? It's for safety, but I digress. Anyway, federal law and ICE policies govern who can enter, typically limiting access to authorized personnel, legal representatives, or approved visitors. That's how it goes. However, members of Congress, federal or state, may request access for oversight purposes. ICE has historically allowed such visits, especially for federal lawmakers, but they must coordinate in advance and comply with facility protocols. State congresspeople have less authority over federal facilities, so their ability to gain entry depends on ICE's discretion or specific circumstances like a formal investigation tied to their district. So there you go. Like I said, they do not have the authority to just go into these facilities whenever they want to, whenever they feel like it. It's not a thing. Doesn't happen. So you've got a lot of AOC, okay, is one of the main components. I got a little video for her that I'm going to show everybody. She's one of the ones touting this lie that oversight gives them the authority to walk in there whenever they feel like it. It's not the case. Although oversight is a thing, it does not give them the authority to just walk up into these facilities whenever they want to. It's not a thing. So anyway, we've got now y'all remember the woman in the red jacket, Monica. She's a state representative for New Jersey. She is possibly facing charges of assault on an ICE officer, and I think rightfully so. In that video I showed you, you can see her pushing and shoving. It looks to me like she elbowed one of the ICE officials, but I can't say it for certainty, but it looks like to me that's what happened. There's body cam footage that has come out now, and this shows the arrest of Baraka. Still, it sounds like a Mortal Kombat character to me, but anyway, maybe I'm thinking of something else, but it sounds like I digress. I don't want to ramble about that, but anyway, take a look at this video because this is the body cam footage of Baraka being arrested, and I believe this is the one where you can actually see LaMonica actually shoving one of the other ICE officials, a couple of them actually, but take a look. There she is in the red. Yep, see, shoving. She is forcefully moving people out of the ICE officials out of the way. For what? Because I'm not going to say that the arrest of Baraka didn't set this all off, because it looks like that's what happened. But after they warned him several times that he was going to be arrested for trespassing and he doesn't leave, what do you think is going to happen? You can't just throw out. It's like when you tell a child, you better not don't do that. Or if you tell them, I'm going to count to 3. If you count to 3 and then there's no consequences, they know that then nothing's going to happen. You have to follow through with your warnings. If you don't have consequences for people's actions, this is one of the accountability. I talk about it quite a bit. Consequences, actions have consequences, whether it be good or bad. This is bad consequence. You were told to leave. You didn't. You got arrested. Done. Should have been the end of it. But no, as soon as they went into detain this guy, Baraka, they lost their minds. And then they assaulted people. But I digress. Now, I will say, New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey specifically, but I mean, the New Jersey as a state as a whole, is this the kind of people that you want to represent you? I would be embarrassed if I was her. That's just me though. I would be embarrassed as one of her constituents. They don't care about you. All they care about is their next 15 minutes of fame and what they can get into the spotlight for. This is grandstanding at its finest. But anyway, we'll go ahead and you let me know what you think about that clip. I personally think that that's assault on an ICE official. But take a look at old AOC, and she's going to come on here. She's going to spout her lies. Again, like I said, I just read pretty much the entire definition of the oversight and everything else. They do not have absolute authority to just go in there willy-nilly. But AOC is going to further push this narrative. It's incorrect, but they're going to keep pushing. They're going to keep rolling with it. I'm telling you, this is going to be a story all week long about how they have oversight and they have the right to be there to tour the facility. And it's just not correct. But anyway, AOC jumps on this bandwagon as well.
And now what DHS is trying to say, again, they're using public intimidation because they know that they cannot come for us all. They know that they cannot come for us all. And recently what they said is that DHS is allegedly looking into arresting members of Congress.
Yes, for assault. I don't see the problem. You tell me if you think it's a problem. The left claims no one's above the law. If you're an assaulting an officer, look, January 6th, people who didn't even assault nobody went to prison. Assault on an officer is wrong, whether it be J6ers. I've said it before. I don't agree with it. I don't care if you're a congressperson assaulting a police officer, an ICE official, what have you. It's against the law. Go to jail. You go to jail. That's it. I don't care if you're a congressman or a private citizen. You go to jail. Meh, I'm just crazy, though.
Who were showing up for their legal and constitutional obligation to conduct oversight.
Incorrect.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress. It's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there.
She can't say her name either. This LaMonica McLever. See, I can't say her name right, but she can't say it either. That's why she didn't say it. But anyway, I don't see the problem. Go arrest them if they committed. I didn't see any assault from the other representative that was there. Now they went on the news and they took their 15 minutes of fame and they ran with it. They've been all over the news, CNN, MSNBC, what have you. They've been all over the news networks. But I'm surprised AOC didn't go on there as well, but maybe she didn't get the invite. But she's still got a grandstand on social media. But anyway.
You lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
What problem?
Because the people who are breaking the law are the people who are not abiding by it. And it is enshrined.
Let me just say, you know who's not abiding by the law there, AOC? The illegal aliens that are being rounded up and arrested and deported. They didn't come here legally. They broke the law as soon as they crossed that border illegally. I know Jasmine Crockett wants to say that's not a crime, but it is. It is. It's U.S. law. You come into this country without the proper documentation, without doing it legally, it is a crime. Strike one. Anyway.
In the law, that members of Congress who show up to ICE and CBP facilities are required to be granted access.
No, they're
legally required to be granted access. And they legally cannot be inhibited from accessing these facilities to conduct their constitutional obligation to investigate and conduct oversight.
Oversight is a thing. I will give her credit on that. But again, everybody heard me read it. You cannot just go out into these facilities willy-nilly. You have to go through the proper channels, request to go through there. You can't just walk up in there. You can't do it. This is the lie that they're going to push. They're going to push this oversight crap being as justification for them being there. It's not the case. Again, they do have oversight, but they cannot just go in there whenever they feel like it. They have to request to be shown around. They have to request it. They can't just go up in there. I know I sound like a broken record, but anyway.
So if Kristi Noem wants to break the law, that's on her. But it sure as hell is not someone like Representative Robert Menendez that needs to be arrested.
He's not going to be arrested. I don't see that because I don't see him doing anything other than the grandstanding that he did. You can see him. He did a little presser after Baraka was arrested, but I don't think, if anything, I think that LaMonica representative, I think she might get arrested. I hope so. Honestly, unfortunately, she probably won't. Why? Because she is a congressperson, a state congressperson, but still a congressperson. I don't see an arrest happening. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we'll see. I don't know. Just heard some thunder. Maybe it's been storming here for like all weekend. But anyway, we'll go ahead and move on to this last story that I've got. This is from the Post Millennial, and Lieutenant Governor of Michigan. Yeah, apparently he's getting a little edgy or uneasy rather about the fact that Gretchen Whitmer has been cozying up to the president. Anyway, from the Post Millennial, Michigan Lieutenant Governor says he's concerned about Gretchen Whitmer cozying up to Trump, in his words. I don't see that. I think Gretchen's just Gretchen. I think she's taking the opportunity. She's actually reaching across the aisle. Now, I'm not a fan of her by any means. I think she's not a good person, but I'll give credit where it's due. She has been actually reaching across the aisle in order to get things done. Now, we had the story just last week about, keeping the air base open there in Michigan. She played a vital role in that, keeping up with the Trump administration in order to make that happen. I think that's a good thing. Providing new aircraft to the air base there, keeping it open. It's revenue for the state. It employs people, what have you. I think it's a good thing. I give her credit for reaching across the aisle and making things happen. Now, a lot of people don't like her. I don't like her, but I'll give her credit where it's due. Now, this guy is coming out and saying, look, she's getting too cozy with President Trump because you can't give Trump a win. No. Can't happen. Michigan Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist has expressed a disappointment with his boss cozying up to the Trump White House and vowed to confront the administration if elected governor in 2026. I think personally, yes, Gretchen is one of the ones that is going to make a push for the presidency in 28. Her, Gavin Newsom, perhaps. I don't see AOC. I've said that before. I think she's going to take over the Senate seat there in New York. But anyway, she's probably going to run for presidency, and this guy's probably going to run for her spot, which is fine. There's more thunder. Let's see. And vowed to confront the administration. This comes after Democratic Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer was captured on video being friendly with President Trump in recent public appearances. That's because she got some stuff done. Like I said, she's reaching across the aisle and she's getting stuff done for her state. What is wrong with that? That's what you elected her to do. Just because she cozied up to Trump, in your words, in order to get things done for her state. Why are you complaining about it? She maintained jobs. She kept the airbase open. What are you complaining about? Somebody tell me what. How does this make sense? It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, let's see. Gilchrist, a Democrat, of course, made the remarks during a May 3rd campaign event in Grand Rapids, according to the New York Post. I do like Governor Whitmer, but I'm a little concerned with her cozying up to Trump recently. A Michigan State University political science student said to Gilchrist, asking for his thoughts on the matter, according to the video obtained by the outlet. I think it's terrible, Gilchrist responded. Why? Why? You cannot do anything with President Trump, even if it benefits your state. They will not let you have anything. It's ridiculous. Again, I do not like Whitmer, but she is actually doing something. She's getting things done. Again, I don't like her, but at least she's reaching across the aisle and she's getting some things done that need to be done within Michigan. I think it's good that the airbase stayed open. That's what her goal was. She accomplished it. And because she had to work with President Trump, they're ostracizing her. She's now an outcast. Let's see. Vowing that if elected governor in 26, he would show up for Michiganders, whatever, and confront the Trump administration for launching investigations into the state's institutions. You can't work with President Trump, because if you do, this kind of crap happens. We need to make sure we are advocating fully for what the people of Michigan need, he continued. The administrations attacked, for example, Grand Valley State University with their civil rights probe into the college's use of affirmative action, he said, adding, as governor, Trump will still be president in 27, so that's how I will show up against this administration. He's grandstanding. Again, I know I use the term a lot, but this is what they're doing. President Trump recently praised Governor Whitmer, and rightfully so. I give her props too. Who is term limited during an event last month at an Air National Guard base near Detroit, where she was pulled up on stage to speak. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was also in attendance. Okay. People say that she was blindsided. I don't think it was a blindside. I just don't think she expected to speak. And I thought what she did say was fine. Anyway. Let's see, where was I? I want to thank Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, said Trump in his remarks. Per the outlet, I'm not supposed to do that. She's a Democrat. They say, don't do that. Don't have her here. I said, no, she's going to be here. She's done a very good job. Yeah. Again, I don't think Trump was trying to get a gotcha moment on Whitmer. I don't think that's the case. I just think that he praised her for reaching across the aisle and getting her job done. She was vital in the airbase staying open, and he gave her props. So do I. I don't see the problem. I don't like her, but she did do her job in this aspect. Anyway, let's see. Additionally, Whitmer was captured earlier in April, meeting with the president in the Oval Office to discuss the future of Selfridge Air National Guard Base. Photographs of the meeting went viral after Whitmer attempted to conceal her identity behind a stack of blue folders. Everybody remembers that picture. That was just the start of the talks. She wanted to keep the airbase open. Like I said, it's jobs, it's financial security for families. It's a good thing. I don't know why anybody would be on the fence about this, or even on one side. Or it's good for the state. She did her job. Fantastic. I give her props. Anyway, spokesperson for Gilchrist, Danny Rafiki, told the Post in a statement that his comments were taken entirely out of context. I don't think so. He doesn't look. Again, you cannot side with Trump on anything. Anyway, what the lieutenant governor believes is terrible is Donald Trump slashing critical healthcare programs, raising costs, and putting Michigan jobs and families at risk, said Rafiki. Governor Whitmer and Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist will continue working together to deliver Michigan despite the chaos. Again, I will say, who cares? What does your little quibs about, Donald Trump is slashing healthcare, which he's not, whatever have you, their little talking points, Medicaid, Social Security, all that's got nothing, absolutely nothing to do with why Whitmer and Trump were working together. It's got nothing to do with anything. Why even bring it up? It's just him grandstanding. It's something he thinks that he can, take into the governor election come 26. Something maybe he can run on and win on. That's all it is. These people are ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway, so we got I'm gonna go ahead and just cover this one more thing here now. I will say that this has been a talking point since yesterday. Apparently, President Trump is going to get an aircraft from Qatar. Why? Well, because Boeing was enlisted, as it were, to produce a new Air Force One aircraft for the president. That was a long time ago, and they still haven't completed it. They said that it won't actually be complete until closer to 2035. So Qatar offered up this plane. Now it's not brand new. Okay, it's not a brand new airplane. It's an older one. It's been used before, but they do call it the palace in the sky, as it were. Now, my personal opinion on this, I don't think it's a good look for President Trump. It could be seen as a bribe. I don't think it is, but I don't think it's a good look. I think, honestly, personally, now I understand the frustration with Boeing. They're supposed to have this aircraft done already, and it hasn't been done. So I understand the frustration with Boeing not taking care of business. I think it was like 10 years ago, or maybe it was Trump's first administration, that he contracted Boeing to make a new Air Force One, and they still haven't done it. So I understand his frustration. I still don't think that he should do this. I think it's a bad look, and I'll criticize him when I think it is bad. But anyway, we'll take a look at a couple things here just on the old X. And let's see. This person, Colette Harrington. Oh, please, if I see another moronic post about Trump accepting a jet from Qatar as a bribe, I'll spit. DEI Boeing has been working on Air Force One for 6 years, costing billions. Yeah. They were supposed to have it done. They haven't. They said now that it's not going to be done until about 2035. So it doesn't make sense. But anyway, he is refurbishing a plane once owned by Qatar because Boeing never delivered on the plane he ordered. Again, I will understand. I don't think it's a good idea. If anything, if he has to take this so-called bribe, I mean, we've been gifted stuff before. Look at the Statue of Liberty is just one example that comes to everybody's mind, I'm sure, as a gift from a foreign country. But anyway, it can be taken as a bribe. I don't think if he has to take it to save face, what have you, I think he takes it and then sell it. It's a $400 million aircraft. Anyway, let's see. Boeing is so far behind schedule with new Air Force One ordered years ago that Trump asked a Florida defense contractor called L3 Harris to overhaul a 747 once used by the Qatar government. Again, like I said, it's not like a new plane. It's not. It's an older plane, still updated more than what I guess the current Air Force One aircraft is. I don't know. I think it's a bad look. I think he shouldn't take it. But anyway, take a look at this. This is the one that I wanted to show everybody. Boeing representatives signaled to federal officials that the plane maker wouldn't be able to deliver the new planes for about another decade, until around 2035. According to people familiar with the discussion, Boeing, in particular, recently struggled with the plane's complicated wiring and structural issues, including some related to holes for doors cut into the lowered lobes of the aircraft, some of these people said. During the Biden administration, Franklin Kendall, the U.S. Air Force Secretary at the time, considered canceling Boeing's contract for the project. I think it should be canceled. They obviously can't get the stuff out on time. Just go ahead and cancel it. That's just my opinion. And again, I will say my opinion as far as the gift or bribe, as it were, from Qatar. I think if you have to take it, then take it and sell it. I don't think it's a good look for the administration. But I see the other side of it as well. I see the fact that Boeing was supposed to come through with this new aircraft for Air Force One. They haven't done it. And now they're saying it's not going to be done for another decade still. I don't know. You let me know what you think. It's kind of kind of a predicapickle for the president. But you let me know what you think. I personally think it would be fine. I just don't like the look on the administration that it would have, and I think just if you have to take it, then sell it. That's just my opinion. Um, but hey, I wanna thank everybody for hanging out with me this morning, especially during my little rants here. And what is going on with this anyway? But hey, if you like what you saw, I appreciate you being here. Hit that follow button. I am live every single Monday through Friday, every single morning at 7:30 Eastern, just ahead of the Rumble lineup. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you. Give me a follow. You can also follow me on X at The Political Ray, True Social at Political Ray. Again, I appreciate you being here. I hope everybody has a fantastic Monday, even if it is stormy like it is here. But everybody take care of each other and God bless.